YouTube, and welcome to another how-to video. And in this video I'm going to be talking about canyons. So we're on a P plot, and since I've been experimenting in western stuff, I've been learning new ways to terraform, mainly with sort of canyons and high cliffs. So I'm just going to show you how to do that here. Should have disabled that, which means that I won't be building off the plot. Good. So you want to start off with a brush. I'm using wool because I've just been helping Tafnator or Zarius with his plots. He was asking me to show him how to do these, and I figured I'll do a video on this. So I've got a brush of wool. Some people like to terraform in wool. I'd normally just use stone, but whatever. And it's a size 5 brush, and I'm just sort of going to roughly mark out where I want these cliffs to be and how tall they want to be. So with a size 5 brush, and I'm going to try and scale it to this plot, so I'm not actually going to go sort of taller than that really. So there's one bit, and we also want to have a sort of bit of a canyon here, and have it, well, we'll have a break there, come round here, and this can go like this as well. So we're just going to build this up, and this is the really easy bit. And I think this terrain is actually sort of easier to create than normal terrain. There's definitely not as much sort of detail that needs to go into it, and that's because of one of the brushes that we'll use that I'll get into in a minute. So also to make this a little bit more interesting, I'm going to raise this platform here like this, just so we have something. It's got a bit of variation to the terrain, and build up here as well. Maybe we'll just actually enclose all of this section. So just clicking about. So as you can see, this is very, very rough, and it's taken what, a minute, 2 minutes to do this. Nothing special. Then you're going to go into your second brush, and this second brush is the gravity brush, which is / brush gravity, and you can do like a different size variation for it, but it doesn't really matter. If you just type that in, it sort of does quite a large brush size anyway. And you just right click a couple times, and you can see it starts to drag all of those blocks that are floating down to the right height. And if you click once, it just does it like this, and then you click again, it goes down a little bit more, click again, goes down a little bit more. So you do have to just like spam the right clicking for this, just to sort of get it in position. Go through a couple times, make sure you're smoothing out all of those edges, you get them all going flat. And this is exactly what I did for my terrain on my pgrand plot, which is where I'm doing my western stuff if I ever get round to actually recording some of it. And we'll do it in here as well. So as you can see, so far it's not really requiring much thought process. It's just sort of, okay, so I want stuff to be here, and then spam clicking. So then you've got that. Now you need to sort of smoothen bits out, because you can see it's really, you can really tell it's world edited on the top here and here, where it's quite slopey and stuff. It doesn't really fit with the style. So I'm going to get another brush out, and this one is going to be a smaller sphere brush. 35 for the wool. We'll just leave it at wool for now, and size 2. So we don't want to go too high. We're just going to go around the edges of the cliffs like this, right around, right on the edge. And this is exactly how I did all my cliffs. And then once you've gone around those edges, get your gravity brush, drag it all down again, and it sort of squares off the top of the cliffs a little bit more, and it builds up the sort of lower sections a little bit more, like that. So you can see the difference already, hopefully. And again, just get your small sphere brush, just go along the top like that, drag them all down, Same over on this side. Just drag across. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect again. It doesn't have to be everywhere. You can skip a couple blocks and then place your sphere. And just drag it all down. Forget how boring it was to do this. Wait till you get onto painting the terrain. That's brilliant. That's even more fun. Drag this all down. And drag that down. Okay, so that's not too bad. I'm actually going to do it inside here as well. You know, if you're going to do something, you might as well do it properly. In for a penny, in for a pound, all that fun stuff. Drag it all down, drag it all down. And yep, that looks alright. Right, next one, going to need one more brush, maybe two more brushes. And you're going to do brush, cylinder, 0 for air, and we don't want a too big a one, so we'll just go for 3. And with this one, you're just sort of going to take out some of these top sections here. You know, just where it sticks up a little bit too much, where it's sort of too world edited. Just going to get rid of those sections there. And I really make this flat because I come back to it and add more detail to the top of these cliffs. So just click there, get rid of that bit, that bit. So really you want to get the ones that are right next to the edge, that are sort of like here and there. So you know, right on the top there, you want to get rid of those bits. If it's near the back, you can sort of leave it. Just get rid of like that. And I'm using the cylinder brush, so I've got more control over sort of the layers that I want these to be at. And then we're going to get another brush. Told you I was going to use another one. Brush, cylinder, 35 for the wool, and size 3 again. And then this time, you're going to sort of just fill in the back areas so that the top of the cliff is completely flat. When you get to sections like this, obviously just fill in those bits. Leave these top bits for now. We can fill in this middle bit though, like that. I'll go on to sort of detailing that in a minute. If you get a section like this where it overhangs, don't worry, don't start deleting it. Just use your gravity brush, and it adds that little bit more depth and detail to the cliffs. I'm going to go across here and across here, and I'm actually going to bring this out as well. It's like about there. Alright, so that's the basic shape of the cliffs done. What you want to do now is either by hand if it's a small area like this, or you can use World Edit. Again, just using your cylinder brushes, is just sort of smoothing these sections out. And there's sort of no easy way of doing this, it's just sort of planning. And you want to have, if it's coming to a point like this, you want to have sort of gap of 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, so on, so on. Try and mix up, so like maybe you have a 3 and then a 2, and then you have a 3 again. You know, don't want it to be sort of the same all the way through the plot. And also mixing up sections here as well. That's okay, not too bad. Bring that out, join up here. How's this looking? Not too bad. We also want to bring that across here and knock that block out. And it's just sort of following the contours that are already there. So as you can see, when I was doing that little section there that I've just done, this bit was really sticking out. So what I've done is I've just added a little bit extra bit here that sticks out as well. And don't be afraid to add it going sort of off center. Like I could have just left it like this but it was a little bit too perfect for me, so I've just added these 3 blocks. Makes it off center, makes it a little bit more interesting, and try to avoid these 45-degree angled straight lines as much as you can. You're not always going to be avoiding them. In some cases they do actually look good, but generally speaking you only sort of want 2 like that in a row, and then you'd want to go 2 blocks that way. So technically it is 3, or if you do that technically it is 4, but because you have these sort of 2 going at an angle that way and the 2 going at an angle that way, it's only really 2 blocks at a diagonal. You don't really want to do more than 3 in my opinion when you're doing sort of slopey hills and shallow cliffs and stuff like that. So that's about it for this video. The other thing you can do obviously is sort of just build the terrain out a little bit. I did the exact same for the smaller cliffs along the sides of these bigger cliffs, and I will actually just sort of go and show you what my finished terrain looked like, because this isn't really a great example of how well it can be used. This is just sort of being a rough how-to, you know, just talking about what I did to get this look. And obviously, you know, this little section here is far too close together. You want to be able to walk through there. Maybe we can work something out. Now, round there like that. Should really be using a sphere brush. I do have one, don't I? So, and again, you can use that sphere brush to really smoothen and flatten this little road out that in between the canyon. So you've got this little road that comes through here, and all this needs badly fixing. So yeah, not too bad. Okay, so that's it. Then all you have to do is change all of the material to clay, stone, whatever it is you want to use, and you can use this technique for normal cliffs. I just think this is better for canyons because my usual cliffs tend to have overhangs like this. Just do it really quick, small one. That's sort of how my cliffs tend to look, roughly. You know, something like that anyway. But you don't tend to see that in the canyons and the desert and Wild West and stuff like that. So that's why this technique is completely different. But yeah, that's it. So, warp, pgrand. So if you walk to pgrand, my one is the desert one that's right here. And I'll just sort of fly around. You need your render distance on far to be able to see this in its entirety. And I can't have my render distance on far because my PC is crap and will die. So yeah. So I'll just sort of stand here. Apparently this loads it quicker, go into the menu. So we'll just do this for a few seconds. And as you can see, I've used lots of different versions of stained clay, the coloured stained clay blocks, and I've got them in layers to look like the different sediments in the rock. So that seems to have loaded quite enough. So you can see, just using that gravity brush, it's really helped to create these sharp, tall cliffs, and I've got them layered up. So we have, you know, sort of smaller ledge here, then we've got a big one, then we've got a really tall peak on top. I think my render distance is on short, so this will be quite hard to see everything. And if we just go to this corner, we have a nice little canyon, like a real proper one. And this is going to be like a little bandits area, hopefully, for my pgrand plot. You know, you've got a little riverbed here where it's quite flat, and then these tall, sharp cliffs. And if I look on top, you can see where I was doing that sort of smoother layer all along the top there. And I've sort of smoothed it down here for like a little footpath. Comes round, comes down here. You've got this peak in the middle. So yeah, it's all just using sort of the main 2 brushes. You know, the size 5 sphere and the gravity brush. Then go over with a smaller brush. I think I use size 3 for this scale. And then sort of just doing the smoother edges by hand, which I still need to do on this big flat bit here. But yeah, I was getting lazy because I was working on this for about 3 hours in one day, and I was just like, nah, bored. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this how-to video. Hope you've learned something new. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one.